It's lunchtime, and this is Brad Anderson's Lunch Break. Two of my favorite things about Microsoft are the smart people that constantly visit campus and the great fleet of shuttles. Whenever I can, I try to take advantage of both of these things and grab lunch with some of the tech industry's best and brightest. Today, I'll finish up my conversation with veteran tech journalist Tim Anderson. One of the challenges that just about every organization in the world is now grappling with is as the data moves out to the cloud and the data moves to mobile devices, the traditional perimeter-based security model they've used is just no longer effective.
Sure.
And so what we believe is in this mobile and cloud-first world, identity becomes the new perimeter. Okay, and we believe that in terms of enterprise mobility, identity is like the most foundational piece. And so as you give advice, or as people ask you questions, get your perspectives, you've got so much historical perspective. Talk about the importance of identity in this mobile-first, cloud-first world.
Right, so it is what we care about, identity. Yeah. If every organization has got data that it cares about, and what we care about most in terms of security is who has access to that data.
Exactly.
And also we perhaps care about who doesn't have access to that data. So clearly it's identity is at the heart of that.
So as we take a look at the data breaches that it seems like we read about just about every week, like 70% or more of those eventually trace back to somebody's credentials having been compromised, a phishing attack, or they had weak credentials. In that world, most organizations basically have to take an assumption that they've been breached, that they have identities that somebody is using to steal or attack them. How can organizations protect themselves?
I think one thing I've noticed is that the answer to that question varies according to the size of the organization. So in the smaller businesses, I still see a lot of very poor practice around security because it's not really understood.
Yeah.
I think a lot of education has to happen there, and I do think that the cloud is an enabler here because the cloud services are giving smaller businesses a taste of enterprise level computing, which is a lot better than they've perhaps had in the past. Now in a larger organization, I mean, a lot of it is around how we handle credentials and authentication.
Yeah.
So we need to do multi-factor authentication and try and move on from passwords.
Yeah. So Tim, you've had this incredible perspective for 30 years in technology. So think of someone who's kind of like at the early to midpoint of their career, and they're asking you for advice on managing and growing their career and impact. What advice would you give them?
One of the things I've been a bit surprised by is that even though computing is, in one sense, at the cutting edge of modern life, an area of great change, IT professionals can be quite conservative in their attitudes. And I think it's important to keep learning. I think it's important to go to events, to read books.
Yep.
Keep enjoying it. If you are a developer, for example, remember the magic of it. Remember the magic of programming and seeing something before your eyes turn into a project that has intelligence and has a user interface and delights users. And just keep a sense of the magic of it that will keep you motivated to do what you do best.
Oh, that's great advice. Tim, it's always a pleasure to see you. I always look forward to seeing every time we get to meet up at an event.
Thank you very much.
We've got to make sure we go do this again.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Next time on Brad Anderson's Lunch Break. So your two terms are transatlantic flights.
Okay.
Or World of Warcraft. Okay, do you know much about World of Warcraft?
A little bit.
All right.
I had to stop playing so that I could finish writing my dissertation.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, here we go. You would do something unspeakable in exchange for an upgrade.
Transatlantic flight.
I've got hundreds and hundreds of engineers who have built on-prem products for some of them for decades. We've had to go through that same cultural transition internally that many customers right now are facing as we're helping them and pushing them to move to the cloud. But we've had to go through it first.